Witchcraft has an expiration
I
date.
have a very important revelation that God revealed to me while I was in prayer. I wanted to share this with you all because I have not heard anyone teaching about this, and I'm not saying that that's not the case. It's just that I have not stumbled across this, and I believe that it will give you deeper spiritual insight, and it should encourage you if you are struggling with witchcraft. Now, I want to say this too. A lot of people ask me why my content is centered a lot around witchcraft. And I want to tell you all, maybe what you should do is focus on your bloodline, your family, your churches, your friends, everything that you are involved in, even on social media. You will see that witchcraft is around almost everything that you're doing. Okay, a lot of this stuff is going on right under your nose as well. But I do speak on a lot of other topics. I noticed that when I did that video about how to build a prayer altar, that video didn't do so good. But I noticed that when you respond to negativity, those videos tend to do very well. When you do videos on witchcraft, those videos do very well, which I find that very, 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 very troubling, because Christians should be more concerned about building prayer altars and strengthening their prayer walk and their life with Christ. However, I just wanted to put that disclaimer out. But I'm looking down because I have notes. Witchcraft has an expiration date. Witchcraft is not eternal. The timeline of the spells, the rituals, the chanting, all of those things that fall under that, depends on the potency of the magic performed or the ritual. Now I'm going to give you some examples. So if someone invokes a spell, curse, hex of death over you, typically those spells last up to 25 years. Now, I want to say this for the people in the back. All right. The revelation that I receive is at an apostolic level. And no, some of this revelation is not going to come from the Bible. This is why in Acts 1 and 8, it said you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. This is also why the apostles became incredibly powerful when the Holy Spirit came upon them, because Jesus had ascended into heaven. Okay. Now, a lot of people get very frantic about this spell. Now, I'm going to tell you this is horrible, but I want you to understand the purpose and the agenda behind this curse and this spirit of death that usually comes on people. Death doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to be unalived, okay? But everything around you is going to dry out, okay? And think about I guess you could say from a spiritual perspective, if I can explain this to you. So if someone invokes this spirit on you, everything around you is going to dry up. Your bank accounts, jobs, friendships, everything is going to basically die off. Okay? That's the objective. And then eventually you're going to die off. Okay? So hopefully that explains it. Now I'm going to talk about another spirit, a spirit of infirmity. Spirits of infirmity usually don't unalive a person as well. If we think about the woman with the issue of blood, she had that issue for 18 years. There's a whole lot of incredibly sick people that live very long lives, actually. Outlive a lot of people. Okay? So that spirit does not necessarily mean that you are going to be unalived. Many people that have been in very, I guess you could say, detrimental situations, I've never heard specifically that it was infirmity or sickness. That's very typical things that most pastors go to. A lot of times it's the spirit of poverty. Okay? The spirit of poverty actually is the cause of many people being unalive. This is a very potent, and when I do mean potent, spirit that can unalive you within 3 years. All right? The spirit realm works in seasons and can operate within those times and seasons, but they're not meant to last forever. To break witchcraft, praying at noon, 6 p.m., and midnight are incredibly important hours for a true servant of Christ. Incredibly important. Praying warfare scriptures, praying in your heavenly language that God has given you, very important. Okay? Ritual spells, incantations, and hex all have expiration dates. Okay? The only thing that doesn't have an expiration date is generational curses. Somebody got to break those things. Another thing to note is that people ask me about breaking generational curses off your uncle, your cousin. You can't do that. Your uncle still smoking weed. Your uncle going in and out of jail, your uncle fornicating with all type of women. How could you break generational curses? He's in agreement with the devil. But what you should be focused on is breaking those generational curses off your husband or your wife if you're married, right? Your children, changing the trajectory of your bloodline. Okay, this is why Jesus said that his family is the ones that do the will of his Father. Though that's his family, that is who your family is. My current family, I don't consider them family. We do have the same parents, but we are not family because we don't agree the same. We don't do the same things. It would be incredibly uncomfortable for me to hang out with a bunch of heathens that don't want to change. Okay, so the generational curses is something that you need to focus on concerning your family. Okay, a servant of Christ needs to focus on that new citizenship that they take on when they become a real servant of God. Okay, because you take on a new identity. All right, this is all Bible. Okay, your family members and people that you know, they have to come out of agreement with darkness. Okay, that's how those curses will be broken. Okay, so I just wanted to make mention of those things. All right, witchcraft has an expiration date, is what I want you all to take away from this. You can speed that expiration date up by obedience to Christ. You can actually make sure, please understand that I'm going to tell you that expiration date can be voided if you become incredibly obedient to Christ. Okay, you can void that expiration date by removing yourself from these adulterous churches that are prostituting themselves to other God. Greed being one of them, witchcraft being another one, and then number 3, just the antichrist spirit and them giving you false hope with no real revelation on how to actually come out of darkness. Okay, you can void this expiration date by deep consecration and fasting. Okay, your consecrations has to be orchestrated by Jesus Christ of Nazareth. I just want to make mention of that. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Your consecrations have to be orchestrated and ordained by Christ. The more you fast, the more you read the word, the more you ask God this, he will reveal this to you. Okay, reading the Bible allows God to minister to your spirit. Okay, this is another amazing spiritual practice that you must develop. Okay, these spells and curses go up as contracts, okay, in the courtrooms of heaven. And so this is something that you also need to understand, that there could be contracts on you that go up to the courts of heaven that God says, nope, void, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to allow this. God has the final say. So I pray that this message bless you. I pray that this message give you some deeper insight and revelation concerning these things. The only thing that you need to fear in life is God.